On August 15, 1971, Richard Nixon went on television and quietly ended the world as it existed. He didn't declare war. He didn't announce a crisis. He just said the dollar would no longer be backed by gold. 11 minutes, that was the length of the speech. And in those 11 minutes, every currency on Earth became something nobody had a good word for yet. The setup. Here's what most people don't realize. For most of modern history, the dollar wasn't just a piece of paper. It was a promise. Specifically, the promise that if you handed the U.S. government $35, they would hand you back 1 ounce of gold. That system was called Bretton Woods, built in 1944, designed to stabilize the global economy after World War II. Every major currency on Earth was pegged to the dollar, and the dollar was pegged to gold, which meant the entire global financial system was ultimately backed by a medal sitting in a vault in Fort Knox. Then Nixon ended it, and nobody replaced it with anything. How the system works. So what is money now? The honest answer is a collective agreement. The dollar today is backed by nothing except the belief that it will be accepted tomorrow. That's it. No gold, no silver, no physical asset of any kind. Economists have a polite term for this. They call it fiat currency, from the Latin word meaning "let it be done," which is a very elegant way of saying money exists because we all agree that it does. And that agreement is enforced by one thing: trust in the institution that issues it. In America's case, that institution is the Federal Reserve, a private entity created in 1913, accountable to Congress but not controlled by it, with the power to create dollars from nothing. Not print them, create them digitally by typing numbers into a computer. In 2020, the Fed created $3 trillion in 3 months. Let that sit for a moment. $3 trillion in 3 months, created by typing. The uncomfortable mechanism. Here's where it gets interesting. When the dollar was tied to gold, there was a natural limit on how much money could exist. You could only create as many dollars as you had gold to back them. Nixon removed that limit, which means the only thing stopping a government from creating infinite money is its own restraint. And restraint, historically, is not government's strongest quality. Since 1971, the U.S. money supply has grown by more than 5,000%. Meanwhile, the dollar has lost approximately 87% of its purchasing power. That's not a coincidence, that's the math. Every new dollar created makes every existing dollar worth slightly less. It's a tax nobody votes on. It's hidden in your grocery bill, your rent, your savings account earning 2% while inflation runs at 4%. Economists call this the inflation tax. Most people just call it the cost of living. The contrast. Now, here's the irony. The dollar, despite losing 87% of its value, is still the world's reserve currency. Every major commodity on Earth, oil, wheat, copper, is priced in dollars. 88 countries either peg their currency to the dollar or use it directly. The dollar is simultaneously the world's most trusted currency and a financial instrument that has been systematically debased for 50 years. Both of those things are true at the same time. And that contradiction is only possible because there's no alternative. The euro is newer and politically fragile. The yuan is controlled by a government the world doesn't fully trust. Gold doesn't scale. Bitcoin is still a teenager in financial terms. So the world keeps using the dollar. Not because it's perfect, because everything else is worse. That's a remarkably low bar for the foundation of global trade. The longer view. Every reserve currency in history has eventually been replaced. The Portuguese real, the Spanish dollar, the Dutch guilder, the British pound. Each one dominant for decades or centuries. Each one eventually displaced by something newer, more trusted, more dominant. The dollar has been the global reserve currency since 1944. That's 80 years. History suggests that's a long run, and the cracks are showing. Countries like China, Russia, Brazil, and India are quietly building trade systems that bypass the dollar entirely. The BRICS nations are discussing a shared currency. Central banks worldwide are buying gold at the fastest rate since 1967. They're not panicking, they're hedging, slowly, quietly, deliberately. Closing. So what is money now? It's trust, institutionalized, enforced, and slowly eroding. The dollar didn't die in 1971. It transformed. It became more powerful and more fragile at the same time. More powerful because it no longer had limits. More fragile because the only thing holding it up is the belief that it will still be there tomorrow. And belief, unlike gold, can change overnight. The question isn't whether the dollar will eventually be replaced. The question is what replaces it, and whether anyone will be ready when that happens.